Howdy from Texas. This is Heath Hipple with Buggs Fishing, and today we're going to tie the Tarpon Bugg. And we're going to tie the 1/8 ounce first, and we're going to start with a Gamakatsu SC17 1/0 hook. We're going to put that in the vise. And we'll be using Danville 210 Denier thread. This is going to be the Night Swatch color. It's a black and purple. And here we go. So we're going to start the thread on the hook. And we're going to go about to the in line with the barb there. And we're going to come back to around the hook point. The tail piece of rabbit it's called a Bling strip, new from Hairline Dubbin. This is a Zonker size, and this is black with a rainbow backing on it. And we're using a small piece. We're using a 1/2 inch piece here. And so what we're going to do in the water with this bug, the hook is going to be up. The hook point's going to be up. And so we're tying it in on the hide side, which is covered with that mylar tape. And we're going to tie several wraps. Then we're going to give that a little whip finish. With this rabbit, it's kind of slick, and so it will tend to slide a little bit, and so you just got to be careful to make some good thread wraps on it. All right, so there's going to be some trailing flash, and on this color, we're taking 2 pieces each of UV purple and black Krystal Flash, and we are doubling them and cutting them and doubling them one more time, and we're going to tie them in just like that. So I'm leaving the loop of the flash back here. I think it'll help tie it in, help secure it, and you'll notice that these go just beyond the rabbit, the flash does. And so next I'm just going to make a bunch of thread wraps here, all the way down to the end. Another little whip finish knot. Okay. And then hard as hell head cement on the thread. So we're going to tie, there's 3 sizes. This is the 1/8 ounce version that we're tying, and I'm putting hard as hell all over this thread back here. Okay. Now, the next step is going to be tying on the bug shank. This is heavy duty stainless steel wire, and so while it's in the vise, it's easier to put these on, and so you put it through there, kind of open that up with your thumb, and now it's ready. And this size for the 1/8 ounce is the 1.5 inch size, and I measure that's 1.5 inch of the straight piece that you tie stuff on. And so we're going to set that to the side. The other 2 sizes are 1/4 ounce and 3/8 ounce, and they're both tied with the same size hook and the same size shank. And the hook for the 1/4 and the 3/8 is a 3/0 of the same kind, SC17 tarpon hook. And so everything is the same on this. We're just going to use a slightly longer, a 3/4 inch piece of that same black Zonker with the mylar tape. So just a little bit longer piece. Same thing. You take your thread to about the hook point, start tying it in. Make sure you tie it in really well so it doesn't slip off there. All right, and same flash, 2 pieces each of the black and the UV purple Krystal Flash. I'm gonna try and be quick here. All right, 2 pieces of each black and UV purple. Fold them up, double them up, cut them, do that one more time, double it up, and then you're going to tie it right on top here. Okay, and same thing, we're going to make a bunch of thread wraps all the way to the end. Another whip finish knot. Okay, cut that. And whereas the 1/8 ounce version uses a 1.5 inch long shank, the 1/4 and the 3/8 uses a 2-inch shank. It's a little bit longer, and just like we did last time, we're going to put that on. All right, now let's finish the 1/8 ounce version. So get it in my vise just like that. Now I'm going to make my thread wraps all the way down the shank. And then when I get here, I'm going to kind of close it with my finger, make some tight wraps. And then I'm going to do a little whip finish here at the back. Okay. So on all 3 versions, we're going to use diamond fish eyes, the 7mm version. And in the package, you see you get the eyes and then the stickers for the pupils, and I've already done that step. And so I'm putting the eyes on the bottom of the shank. And if you're measuring, this is 1/4 inch from the end there. So I'm going to make a bunch of wraps right here. Secure those eyes. Okay. Now we're going to use an 1/8 ounce belly weight, and it will help to secure it if we tie in a little piece of 50-pound mason right here. So I kind of measured it with my thumb there. So I'm taking one small piece of 15-pound mason. Oops, that's too long. And I'm going to tie it right in there. And what that'll do, that'll keep the belly weight from wanting to move on the shank. So I tied that right there. Okay. And so now I'm pushing, this is the 1/8 ounce belly weight, and I'm pushing it all the way up against those diamond fish eyes, okay? And as I'm tying it in, I'm gonna keep it in the middle, and I'm not gonna put any thread on that last rib right now. I'm just gonna put them on the others. And I'm not gonna put a knot in until I get to the end here. Okay, so tying the weight right there. This is exactly how it's gonna swim in the water. Okay, so the next step, we're gonna tie in the back piece. The back piece is a piece of black Magnum Zonker. And I'm gonna make a little cut in the middle of it, and I'll show you what that cut looks like. Okay, this is that Magnum piece of Zonker, and I made a cut right there in the middle. Okay, and you'll see why I did that in just a second. And so I'm going to use a bodkin. It's basically a pen with a handle. I'll put that bodkin right there, and I'm going to separate the hairs. I'm going to try to. I'm going to separate the hairs right there at the end. And I need to do it close to where that cut terminates. There we go. Separate the hairs right there. And so let me move that thread. Thread needs to go all the way to the back. There we go. So I'm separating the hairs, and then I'm tying in that piece of Magnum Rabbit Strip. And now maybe you can see why that I made that cut in the end, because I want it to be smooth as it comes back there. So I'm going to put 3 wraps. Then I'm going to take a little clip, and I'm going to make a knot there to secure that back piece. Whoops. Now I can take that clip out. So that's going to be the back piece, and you'll see it's smooth and it's nice and neat as it goes back. Okay. Now I'm going to tie in the belly piece. On this color, the belly piece is going to be bright purple, and it's going to be a zonker. So I'm going to come right in front, and I'm going to get my zonker piece, and I'm going to fold back the hairs. I'm going to tie it in just like that. Get that in the middle. Okay. Now, we're going to bring the thread. We're going to bring the thread to this middle rib. Actually, help me look. Okay, it's not the middle one. So this 1/8 ounce belly weight has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we bring it to the 3rd rib, and we're going to give it a collar, and that collar is black zonker. And so we're going to take this zonker strip, and we're going to cut it at an angle on the end, and that's going to make it easier for us to tie in. Okay, see that? So I pulled the hairs back. I'm going to tie it in on top. And so we're going to wrap it twice, and we're going to wrap it between there and there. And we have to leave room for the next step. So secure that zonker, and then I'm going to move my thread to this second to last rib. I don't want the zonker to go ahead of that, and so did a little whip finish, a 1/2 inch knot. Okay, so when we're gonna what's called palmer this, and so we want the hairs to be going towards the back, and so kind of get them going in that direction when we wrap. Once, and this makes 2, and so what I'm going to do, I'm going to separate the hairs right here where I want to tie it off. And then I'm going to give it about three wraps. And I did those 3 wraps because I'm about to cut this zonker piece, and I don't want it to all unravel on me. Okay? Then I'm going to pull that back, and I'm going to tie it in real nice. Tie it in real tight. Okay, at this point you've made those 2 wraps, and you've left room there on this last rib to tie in the lateral scale. On this one, This is lateral scale, and this is a glossy black. And so what I've done, I've taken one single piece and I've cut it in half. So this is a half of one of those pieces of lateral scale, and I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to make a little crease just like that. Okay? But let me get my thread where I want it. Okay, now that thread is on that last rib. Okay? So I folded that piece of lateral scale in half. So I cut the piece of lateral scale, fold it in half, and now I am placing that on the thread. And I'm doing this because I think it'll help keep it from pulling out, and it'll help keep it straight. So you kind of guide it to where you want it to go, right there on that last rib. Tie it in. Put your little knot in there so it doesn't go anywhere. All right, I'm going to do the exact same to the opposite side. Take my half piece of lateral scale, fold it in half. And I'm going to put a crease in it. I'm trying to make these line up pretty well. Okay. Put it on the thread again. There we go. Be really careful when you're tying these. That back hook is super sharp. I just felt it on my finger and I didn't jerk it, and so it didn't get me, but it's super sharp. Okay, so now I'm going to take some purple Krystal Flash chenille, and I'm going to tie it in right here. Okay, and then I'm going to move my thread in front of the eyes. Okay, so we're going to wrap, we're going to put 2 wraps behind the eyes. Ready? 1, 2. Okay, now we're going to do kind of we're going to do back and forth on top. Okay, and then the same thing, actually that was on the bottom, and then we're going to do the same thing on top. Okay, and I'm kind of pulling it tight, so it's tight around those eyes. And 1 wrap in front. Then I'm going to tie it off. Okay, a few wraps there. Cut it. All right, sometimes I will cut some of these fibers right there. All right, we'll just make it a little bit cleaner. All right, so now we're ready to tie in the belly. Let's get this top part out of the way. Okay, so there's our Zonker belly. What we're gonna do, we're just gonna, the collar, we're just gonna push it down, and we're gonna bring that belly forward. Okay, separate the hairs there. You don't need to do it with a bodkin. Separate the hairs there, and you're gonna pull it pretty tight. And you're going to tie that off. So you're making, 3 or 4 wraps there. It won't go anywhere, and you're going to cut it close. Okay. I stuck myself again. All right. All right, so there's the belly. I flip it over, we're going to do the same thing on top. Top piece, the collar, just fold it down and bring that top piece forward. Same thing, separate the hairs, pull it forward, make sure it's in the middle. Okay, make about 3 wraps and then you can cut it. Cut it close. All right. So I'm going to make one whip finish knot right here. And then you got to be careful wrapping around the the termination of the shank right here. But if you want to make it a little bit clean, just put some wraps right there, kind of wrap it around it, and then some more at the back, and one more whip finish, and it should be super durable. All right. And then hardest all head cement to finish. So, this is the 1/8 ounce version of the Tarpon Bugg. Super strong hook back there. It will be pretty easy to keep this, high in the water column, and the hook is definitely sharp and strong enough. And there's some great action in the water with all this rabbit and that lateral scale. So that's the 1/8 ounce version, and I'm going to show you how to tie the 1/4 and the 3/8. So here is the shank that we use for the 1/4 and the 3/8, and just about everything is the same, but I'm gonna get to the part that's different, show you how to do it, and then you'll be ready to go. Just like the other, thread wraps all the way down the shank. When you get to the tag there, push it together. Knot at the back. You're using the same rabbit with this. You're going to finish it the same, and so I'm going to leave the same amount of room at the front with the 7mm diamond fish eyes. About 1/4 inch. All right, so, okay, here's one of the differences. This is the 1/4 ounce belly weight, and this is the 3/8 ounce belly weight. They're both considerably bigger than the 1/8 ounce. And the grooves, the groove right here that where you put it on the shank is big too. And so this is what you have to do to make sure it's secure. Remember how we put a little piece of 50-pound mason right there? Well, we got to put more. And so what I did, I'm doubling over a piece of 50-pound mason. Okay, and I'm going to tie it in right there by the eyes. There we go. And I'm going to cut this tag so I don't have to mess with it anymore. So I'm going to tie that on top. There we go. I'm using a different pair of scissors because cutting mason will dull your scissors you mainly tie with, and so I'm using like a cheaper scissor. Okay, so you see it's doubled over 50-pound mason right there, and then I'm going to tie in one more piece right on top and in the middle. Just like that. You can tie this in really well, and this is what you're gonna, this will help fill up that groove that's in the bottom of the belly weight. And I'm gonna tie it in the 3/8. Okay, once you put it on there, then it won't wanna roll like that. And once I tie it down, it won't roll. And again, I'm not putting thread on the last rib. See, I'm leaving that open. But I am going to put a knot at the very last one here at the back. Okay. So there is this is the 3/8 ounce version. Okay. Same thing we did last time. We're going to cut a notch in the end of the Magnum Rabbit Strip. Okay. Take bodkin, help separate the hairs. I think I need to go further back. We're close though. Okay. Thread, whoops. Thread all the way to the end. Separate the hairs, make 3 or 4 wraps. A clip. Okay. And turn it over. I'm going to use that clip again to kind of keep that out of the way. And we don't have as much space to tie in that zonker, but you'll be able to do it. Okay, so at the end of the zonker, I'm pulling back the hairs. Tie it in, line it up with the shank, tie it there at the back. Oh, come on, there we go. Your first few wraps on this are going to help get it in the right spot. Then you cinch down. So your first 3 wraps are light to get it in the right spot, and then you cinch down and you get a good knot here. Okay. So the difference is, you remember, we had to put more mason on the shank so the weight would be secure and it wouldn't roll. Okay, now, since this is a longer shank and a longer lead weight, we're going to put some Krystal Flash Chenille right here to cover up that lead. And so, I tie it in on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to wrap it on these first 3 ribs. 1, 2, 3. That's where I'm going to put a 1/2 hitch. Oops. I won't go past there, and I'll tie it off right there. All right, so where are we at here? Okay, there we go. Okay. This is going to give it a little bit of bulk, and I want to cover up that lead, and I want, for me it's for looks, Don't know if it's 100% necessary, but it'll definitely look better, and it'll be a more uniform color along the sides there. All right. Okay. Now we're going to move our thread up here. And we're going to tie in the Zonker collar, and again, cut it at an angle right there at the end and make it easier to tie in. Tie it in on top. We're going to palmer it twice to the second to the last rib. And I'm going to finish this, but the rest is the same. So move those hairs back, palmer once, palmer twice. Okay, that's secured so I can cut it. It won't unravel. Whoops. All right. So, I guess I cut that. So I'm going to start it right here, and hopefully I can get in there and without it unraveling. Nice. Okay, good. So that's another reason that you, oh, these scissors stink. There you go. It's the reason why you make those thread wraps. You see just right there, my thread broke and it didn't unravel. And I can tie this collar in. There we go. All right. So, remember what's next? That lateral scale on each side. Remember, cut a piece in half. And then fold it in half. Put it on your thread. Tie it right in there along that last rib. Okay. I'll tie it on the opposite side. There we go. All right. Okay. Now, when we do the Krystal Flash chenille, tie it in right here. Same as before. Two. Palmer it twice right here. One. When you come up for the second one, go back and forth on top, flip it over. Back and forth on the other side. Flip it over. And wrap it once in front. Tie that off. All right. Okay, now we're gonna bring the belly forward. So remember what we do. We smooth it down. Bring the belly forward. Separate it. Pull it tight. Tie it in. Okay. That's secured. Turn it over. Undo our clip. Don't stick ourselves on the hook. All right. Then remember, folding it down and pulling it forward. Separate it. There we go. Pull it forward, tie it in. A few wraps. Cut it close. All right. Oops. Tying that top piece really well right there. Okay. We're going to put some more wraps in front here. And get a clean nose. A couple more right here. Now hard as hell head cement. All right, that's the 3/8 ounce version, the bigger version. And so the 1/4 ounce is the same. You just have a little bit less lead to work around. You always leave that last rib to tie the lateral scale. So you're going to palmer, you're going to put the Krystal Flash at the back, and then palmer the Zonker right there, the second and the third, and then leave that last rib open. But that is the 3/8 ounce version of the Tarpon Bugg. I hope y'all will try it, and then I hope y'all will throw it in front of some tarpon and let me know what happens. Catch you later.